Today, I sit down with Chris Chavez from Nerd News to talk about our top 5 things from Spider-Man No Way Home, coming up next. Well, you guys, I've got back again with us here on Freedom Story Entertainment, a friend of the channel, Chris Chavez over from Nerd News. Say hello, Chris.
What's going on, guys? Hey, thank you for having me back. It's a pleasure. I have so much fun talking all this amazing Marvel stuff with you, so this is great.
Yeah, I'm excited for more Marvel. And you guys, we are going in on Spider-Man No Way Home today. I'm super pumped. So let's just dive right in. No horseplay. Chris, what did you think of the movie?
Gosh, there's no words to describe. Well, first of all, the hype for this movie was pretty high. I mean, I want to say like Infinity War Endgame kind of high. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, because it had what we all love in these kind of movies, the nostalgia aspect that was a big element. And
They were hinting at a lot of the nostalgia. Well, they gave us some in the trailer. They did let us know that, you know, we had Green Goblin, we had Doc Ock. So yeah, but they were hinting at even more. And by the way, you guys, hey, spoilers out the wazoo on this. Okay?
Oh, of course. If you haven't seen it by now, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing. You need to evaluate your life choices, and then you can go get to the theater now and be a part of this amazing experience. But back to your thoughts.
But yeah, honestly, this movie, it did exceed my expectations. It's what I wanted, and it gave me a little bit more. It gave me, and obviously we'll dive into the really cool nuances of the movie, but it gave me that fun feel that when you first saw the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man way back in the day, the first one, that fun, like it looked like you're flipping through a comic book. Like it just gave you that same feel, and I loved it.
That's awesome, man. I agree with you that the expectations were through the roof. That's one of the things that I'm always concerned about, because I know the expectations of the thing can often hurt your experience of it. But yeah, I would agree. It definitely surpassed my expectations, and I was blown away. And it's one of those that I definitely would see again. I think in our last chat, I might have shared that I don't really watch too many of the movies over and over again.
Yeah,
this is one that I can see myself watching multiple times.
Yeah, agreed.
So let's get into your top 5. Maybe we'll start at the bottom, make our way to the top. What is maybe your top 5 moment, top 5 thing about Spider-Man? Give me number 5.
Whew. Gosh, there were so many things about this film that we could talk about, like the top 100 things that we love about No Way Home. But honestly, we'll start with the nostalgia aspect of it, because I mean, yes, they did, like you said, hint at it, but using the nostalgic aspect to showing Doc Ock and Green Goblin, Jimmy Fox, it was a great marketing tool. So we knew this, we were all going to go see it regardless. But then when you throw in that element, that was such a good marketing ploy to be like, hey, older people of the MCU, remember this? Well, you're going to see it again. And so bringing that back was such a huge draw to me to obviously want to go see that. So that's going to be my number 5.
Awesome. Did you, when you were watching the trailers, were you one of those that saw some of the chatter with a lot of the fans about, hinting at this and that? Because there was one, I'm in a Facebook group, I can't remember the name because I'm in multiple Marvel Facebook groups. One of them, they did a picking apart of the trailer, and they took that one kind of like epic snapshot screen of the 3 villains, and then they were like kind of tiered, right, where there was like one up high, one in the middle, one down low, but then you only had one Spider-Man there. And they did a shot by shot or frame by frame of the trailer, and they're like, now, how in the world does the lizard have his face kind of like go like that?
Yeah, I remember when someone pointed that out. It was like a international trailer that showed just a little bit longer of that scene, and you see his head whip back, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, and there's no contact there. They're pulling the wool over our eyes, huh?
Yeah. Either another Spider-Man kicks him, or he's like, oh, there's dirt in my eyes. I got to turn.
Right.
So it was one of the two.
So that's your number 5, the nostalgia. Definitely, that's a huge piece. What about your number 4? What's your 4th favorite part?
The cast. I mean, because it kind of echoes the nostalgic aspect. They could have just recasted, Green Goblin and Doc Ock. I mean, they could have gone that route. Yeah. But the fact that they kept that's the one thing that Kevin Feige does very well. He sticks with the actors that works not just for the story, but resonates with us, the audience.
Right.
And a good example of that, spoiler alert, Daredevil.
Yes.
The fact that we got the same Charlie Cox, the same man back from the amazing, best MCU TV show, in my opinion, back in the role that he's amazing in, it's just a testament to exactly that. The casting works because they know it resonates with the audience.
Come on, man. Yeah, I got nothing else to say on that. I absolutely agree. When I get to my top 5, I'll have more thoughts on there, man, because I think we're sharing a lot of the same ones. That is super dope. What about your number 3? What's your third favorite part?
Okay, so 3, it has to be honestly the story. The reason why the story, I mean, it should be number 1, but the reason why I have it there, it's such a big thing that with all these characters, I know a lot of us were afraid it's going to be Spider-Man 3 all over again, with all these villains cramped into one story. How's it going to work? You're going to care about that villain, and you're going to care about this villain, but they did it in such a seamless way where like I said, it felt like a comic book. It felt like you're turning each page, and the story was fantastic.
I 100% agree, and I'm going to say too much of my stuff. Okay. Yes. The story was great. The story was, I thought the story could be a little bit higher on the list, but yeah, I think when I see where you're going, that I'll probably agree. Like, the truth is, like, I think a lot of these, like, you can kind of move them around and we would all be like, yeah, I can feel that. So what's your number 2? What's your second favorite piece?
So the second one is, I'm such a sucker for really just pretty graphics. And when it comes to the visuals in this, for example, the mirror dimension fight with Peter and Doctor Strange, just that scene alone, it's one of those things where you expect at this point to have top-notch effects when it comes to Marvel movies. Yeah. Sometimes some of it's a little off, like Shang-Chi had just a couple of little elements that didn't work when it came to visuals, but this one was great. I mean, that mirror dimension scene is just a good example of that.
Oh yeah, that was pretty dope. Yeah, I didn't even really think about I think I've come to expect just like the amazing visuals, but yeah, that mirror dimension scene was pretty out of this world, pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. I like what you did there.
Excellent. Well, drum roll. What is your number 1?
Number 1 is honestly Peter's new arc, what he lost. So think about this. So what we're used to before we saw Tom Holland, we saw the Spider-Man that we kind of knew of. He lost his Uncle Ben. He's poor. He can't pay rent. He lives in this really bad apartment. He makes his own costumes. That's kind of what we're used to. We got this new Spider-Man with Tom Holland, and he's baby Tony, right? And so we're getting used to the Stark tech and all that wonderful, amazing stuff. But everything that his character has lost in all 3 of these movies, now we're getting this Spider-Man that we kind of are used to in that same Peter Parker of, okay, he'd lost not just his Uncle Ben, but Aunt May is gone, which is crazy. Yeah. He found that really bad apartment. He made his brand new costume, which I think is a combination of like the very classic Spider-Man that we saw in the comics, and it's his arc is really cool. It's going to be neat to see Spider-Man going forward, because now it's a clean slate. Now it's going to go back to kind of what we're used to in the comics.
Maybe. And that's the thing that I feel like I've had conversations with people, that there's this trepidation where they're like, what are they doing with Peter Parker? It's like, calm down. I think there's, for me, with Kevin Feige and what we've seen thus far, I've got a level of trust with the larger story that even if I feel like a certain arc is going away that I'm not quite sure about, that I'm trusting that it's going to play out in a bigger way that is worthwhile, because I've yet to be wholly disappointed. I've been disappointed in a moment, but then I feel like then I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
So hey man, that's a dope five, man. Um, I think some of mine are basically the same, and so maybe it's kind of a even just shuffling of the order. But one of the things that was in my top five, he gets his own lane in my top five. Is number five for me is the introduction of Daredevil officially into the MCU in this way. I was just like, and I like we'd heard it was coming, but then when it happened, like there's the little boy inside of me that was just like so giddy. And knowing what's going down in Hawkeye and seeing Kingpin and having seen and loved all of the Netflix material with Daredevil, like I was just like, wow, man, I can't wait to see what they do with him on the big screen. So I'm super pumped about that whole Hell's Kitchen world coming to the big screen. So
one thing that I think we need to talk about is the 3 Peter Parkers, because I don't know about you, but in my theater, when you first saw Andrew Garfield, everyone went nuts.
And by the way, that's my number 4. So let's just do it. So my number 4 is the inclusion of the other 2 and the chemistry between the 3 Peters, you know what I mean? And just like the different, unique flavor of Peter that they're bringing. I think my favorite part in that whole, like where they're kind of getting to know each other again or whatever, is a bit of the back and forth. I think it kind of happens in 2 different scenes, but you've got where Andrew Garfield talks about Tobey Maguire's outfit or his clothes. Is like like why you're the only one who's not in a suit. He's like, what are you, like a youth pastor or something? And so as a former youth pastor, like I was just like dying laughing. I'm like, yeah, you totally look like a youth pastor. And then like maybe 5-10 minutes later on, like he starts like kind of talking like a youth pastor to Andrew Garfield, that he's going through all of his feelings, and he's like, no, you're amazing. And like he's like doing this whole lift up, like improve your self-talk type of business. And I love the pun of that, like talking to Andrew Garfield specifically. Yeah, you're amazing. Like I was like, this is really dope.
I agree. That chemistry, that writing, especially those little moments. The one that got me is when they couldn't figure out how Tobey Maguire can make the webbing inside of him. And they're like, did that come out of everywhere?
It's those little moments right there that just make it, man.
I could have just seen a whole movie of those 3 just talking in a room. Like it was so, writing was just so good.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was my number 4, the inclusion of those other 2 Spider-Mans. But then my number 3, I called it intrigue. And I think in a way it relates to the story, but specifically the way it ended, and like this lack of really knowing where it's gonna go. The fact that and I love how you just said it, just like it's a clean slate. So it's like really they can do whatever they want now with him. Like, and for some, that's terrifying. It's like, so is Peter Parker done? Like now we're going to see, you've opened up the multiverse. Are we going to see other Spider-Mans and not Peter Parker? But then also you've got an opportunity to just rebuild him from the ground up. And I never thought about it that way, but the way you described kind of like the return to the grassroots understanding of who Spider-Man was, and the poor kind of, I'm going to try to figure this thing out. I never even thought about that before. So that's definitely dope. But yeah, this intrigue about what's to come really, is the thing that I thought got me all excited. And then my number 2 is, it's ultimately similar to, it is your number 3, but like the way that they wrote the story, not only bringing in the past Spider-Mans, but like the craziness of the whole universe kind of opening up. And like I was like, are we getting ready to literally see all of these old villains coming in, because we see them all kind of waiting.
Oh man, I thought the same thing, because when it started opening up, you saw Rhino, you saw Craven, and I was like, oh my god, they're gonna jump through. Like exact same thing.
Yeah. So just the writing in general, and like the moments that you talked about, like the humorous little lines there, here and there, that the writing of the story, I thought was really phenomenal. And ultimately for me, everything rises and falls on the storyline. So if the storyline's bad, but you got great visuals and you have a movie that doesn't make sense for me. And
Yeah,
I'm just gonna throw this in here. I saw Matrix 4, and that's what happened to me. I was like, I'm so confused. So confused. What did you do? Like, we can have another conversation about that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, we can have a total conversation on that one.
Yeah. And then my last one, my big one, you put in your list as well, but I'm kind of combining a couple of different thoughts, but I'm just calling it the acting, the dramatic performances.
Oh
so
yeah.
Like, I thought like Willem Dafoe killed it. I love the way that Zendaya was even playing her role kind of towards like even Peter Tom specifically at the very end there in that last scene in the diner. I was feeling him, I was like, man, like you're making that tough call.
I love that. That should have been higher on my list. I agree 100% with you on that one. There are two examples that I think. One, you hit it perfectly. Willem Dafoe. He was creepier in this than he was in the original Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, he was terrifying. Like he was like Joker-esque. Like he was really creepy.
Yeah. And like made you feel for him in a way too. It was like, man, this guy's just broken.
Guy. Just a little cuckoo. And yeah, with the acting, like especially, so one specific scene gave me a tear in my eye because of the acting. It's when Andrew caught Peter's MJ.
Yep. Because like you knew what was going on. Even as he dove, you're like, he's got his moment of redemption. Yeah.
But I think I didn't expect after he caught her, that moment where he looked and he was, oh man, that was just good job. Good acting.
And you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that too, because I remembered the first entry of Andrew Garfield in the film. I was kind of like not digging how he was playing it right then. I felt like it felt a little hokey or something like that. I don't know why. But then then as he started, engaging and like getting deep and talking about his empathy with Tom in regards to loss, and like how he lost Gwen, and like you could see the pain. I was like, okay, all right, we're doing this. Toby, however, I'm just gonna be honest, Toby.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you're rusty. Maybe that's why we haven't seen you around for a while.
yeah.
But it's okay, man. I still loved the way that the cast performed the thing in general. So that's my top 5, man. So super dope movie. Now I got a question for you. We're not going to rehash it, but on the last call, and I don't know if you thought about this yet. I actually haven't. But in the last time we talked, you had your top 5 Marvel movies.
Oh, yeah.
Has this broken into your top 5? I don't even know if it has for me yet. I haven't stopped and contemplated who would have to go.
I haven't contemplated that. I contemplated where it sits on my Spider-Man list.
Okay.
Because
that was easy for me.
Like, because Into the Spider-Verse is still my favorite.
Oh, that one's
that was just unbelievable. And then Spider-Man 2 with the Doc Ock, that one, and then this one.
Wow.
For my top 3.
And so maybe I need to do more contemplation, but I'll tell you, like, as soon as I walked out of there, here was my literal statement: best Spider-Man movie I've ever seen. That's literally what I said. Now, I absolutely love Into the Spider-Verse. I think for me, though, I have I have an issue with animation movies, comparing them to
fair enough. Yeah.
Movies. I struggle like thinking about them in the same way. So I don't even know where I would put that one in there, but
I think for me, I love Miles Morales, and I really want to see him. Like, I was hoping he'd be an after credit scene, but it's okay. I love what we got. But
and they're leaving the door open to bring Miles Morales in now.
Yeah,
because the Spider-Man's alive, but maybe Peter Parker's not going to be doing a lot in that regard, or
maybe
they won't know. Who knows? We'll see. Wide open.
Right. I mean, and Jamie Foxx's character even mentioned it. Remember, he kind of hinted at, "Oh, yeah."
I don't even remember that part. What
was the line? Oh yeah, when Peter, I think it was Andrew, took up his mask and he goes, "Oh, I thought I thought you were black. I thought there was another
Yes,
black. Miles. I got so excited, but oh, well, it was just a little like fish, a little lure for the fans. Yeah.
Right. This is why I got to see it again and again and again. Well, hey man, is there any parting words or anything you want the folks here to know, or anything that you're doing that you want to promote here for a moment?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me again. I have so much fun talking about all this amazing nerd stuff with you, and I look forward to the next one. But no, for me, it's just I'm just plugging away with my my nerd channel and talking about fan casting and what I want to see. I think I have another episode coming up that's going to dive into what X-Men characters I want to see coming into the MCU.
Nice. That is super dope. Hey, is there one fan casting video that you think that you've done so far that you think is maybe one of your favorites? I'd love to maybe link to it.
Honestly, I think my favorite is Gambit, because Gambit is a character that everyone wants to see, and we need him back. And I think that's my favorite one that I've done. I think I'm proud of the 5 guys that I chose to be Gambit.
Awesome. Well, you guys hit the link above to go check out that Gambit video. I can't wait to check it out because I am a huge fan of Gambit. Didn't even know you did one for that. So check it out. Well, hey, thank you so much, Chris, for coming on the channel. We're definitely going to have you back. I have a blast just doing this. It's so much fun to be talking Marvel and all this geeky, nerdy stuff with you. You have a good one, man.
You too, man. Take care.